Welcome back to another episode of the One Kick from Glory podcast. North London is red. Manchester is still blue. Liverpool are in a free fall. Chelsea, what to do about you? I'm joined as always by Matthew and Craig. We're going to be talking a lot about the North London and the Manchester derby. Some very exciting results there. Some very interesting positioning now with our teams. I want to start off with the derby that means the most to my heart. North London derby. Arsenal painted the town red, as you do. Nice and easy. I'm going to start off with you, Craig. How did you feel about that game?
Ecstatic. It was a great game. Tottenham tried to press us very early in the game, and Zinchenko playing left back beat the press every time they tried to press him. And when they tried to press him, they fouled him, so he got out of the press easily. We got the only goal quick, got the first goal, and then we hit them with the second goal, and it killed the game. And then the second half, we could have gone. First half, we could have scored more, and Kessie was unlucky with a couple of chances to kill the game off. I felt overall we played well as a team. Arteta made the right substitution at the right time. He gave Smith Rowe some minutes. He brought on Kieran Tierney as well. He brought on Tommy Asu as well. So I think he made the right changes, and I think it was a good game, good entertaining game to watch. But I have to ask Hugo Lloris, what are you doing with the first goal? Oh my gosh. Even an amateur goalkeeper could have saved that shot. Like, what were you doing?
I think that's the thing with Lloris. We were saying about the World Cup, he won the World Cup with France in 2018. And I was saying this to Markus on an episode we did. It was like, for me, I felt like that achievement was in spite of Lloris, not because of Lloris. And I think this game is a prime example of that, you've had dodgy keepers, Matthew, quite a lot recently. Obviously, we've had the Mendy Kepa debate. Kepa, who, brought him in, he looked really solid for a while. Then he just looked absolutely shocking. Had the massive cup final incident with Sarri and all that kind of stuff, and not wanting to be substituted. Then you fast forward to Mendy, who came in and he looked absolutely solid. They won AFCON, and then from that point on, he's not really been the same. I guess for you, looking at that situation with Lloris, do you feel any sympathy for us Tottenham? And of course, you can say no.
Nah, I don't. I don't feel sympathy in any sort of way, because you expect that, and take it from someone that kind of realised a few days before, is that when you, at least with a derby, you kind of turn up with a bit of pride and realising what's on the line here. Like, all right, you're fighting for top four against a team that's potentially going on for possibly winning the title here. This is going to mean so much. The noisy neighbours have never been noisier, i.e. you guys, over all these years. You're on your A game. Never mind what happened before. I know they've had a few rocky games leading up to this point, but never mind. Throw all of that away, and all 14 minutes that went out of the window. I'm not going to lie, Craig's right. I could have saved that, and I used to play in goal. I went very good, but I know for a fact that I'm not letting that in. I'm ready for that. And after that, I don't think he really had much of a leg to stand on. I must give a thing to Odegaard. He's just instrumental in your midfield, and the kind of guy. It saddens me because that how he's adopted that role in the command and kind of being a good gel to the controversial yet experience of Xhaka and that solidity of Thomas Partey. I wish we had that for us, but from the moment that goal went in, when he let that goal in, Agent Lloris. Agent Lloris, mate, honestly. And the Spurs fans know this. They know this. You ask anyone, they don't like him. All saying, sell. You got to be ashamed of that. But after that, you pretty much made the game your own. Painted red, exploded in red. Never mind, covered in red. So, yeah, mate, no sympathy. No sympathy.
You know what? For me, watching that game back, it's one of the few matches that I've seen where Arsenal, no, not really. I think a lot of the games this season Arsenal have played, it's been very apparent that we've had a lot of control. Even the defeat to Manchester United, and we're going to talk about you guys a bit later. Just hold that thought. Just hold that thought, you top Reds out there. But every match we've played this season, I think barring maybe two, because there's 3 games yet we didn't get the win, and that is one. The main night game is one of them. But we controlled that game. They just had better moments, and of course a dodgy decision by the referees. But again, get onto that. But I think it's been endemic of our play this year, just the way we've dominated games. And in this particular match, I was just blown away because I knew we were going to perform well. I didn't have any doubt about that. I knew it was going to be a tough game. I was expecting a lot more fight. Even in your preview, you expected there to be a lot more fight from Tottenham. Fight. Oh mate,
They gave up.
they came in. They looked like they were drunk. But even a drunk person would put up more of an effort. Like it was just strange to see a derby game and to see such a lack of fight from the Tottenham players, like a lack of push, a lack of fight, a lack of any kind of energy that you can work with. And I think what's really interesting for me is that there was a period of game. I think it's a period of like 8 to 10 minutes where we had the ball and it did not leave their half, and it was beautiful to watch. Every time I thought, okay, they've got it back now. They're going to break away. No, we got it on the halfway line, and it was just straight back. And it was like watching the old Wenger ball days where we used to cycle the ball around. But the difference is it was more with a purpose now.
Yeah.
Like we suffocated them. We suffocated Tottenham. Like that game could have easily been 4-5-6.
Yeah.
If you want to step up a level, we could have stepped up even more and score more. As you said, score more goals. But I think Ramsdale as well. Ramsdale kept us in the game, made some good saves in the second half.
He did. I don't think he was man of the match though. I think that decision was wrong. I don't think
Odegaard should have man of the match.
Odegaard
or Saka.
Partey, Saka.
Or Saliba.
I think any of those could have... I wouldn't even give it to Saliba either. I think Odegaard, Partey or Saka, any of them could have been in for a shout. Even Zinchenko, I think, would have been to a shout man of the match. I think to give it to Ramsdale, it kind of implies that he made a lot of saves and he was under a lot of pressure. He made some great saves. So he made some really good saves. But I wouldn't say it was under any immense pressure. Not what you would expect. I didn't see the Tottenham onslaught coming. I thought we were going to get like bombs of balls into the box, and that wasn't the case. It was just a bit of a damp squib from them, and it's a bit disappointing. But, you know, like thinking about this team and under Arteta, for you, Craig, how impressed are you with what Arteta's done over the last... Like from last season through to currently this season? How impressed are you with the transformation in this team?
Or last season, I'm one to hold my hands up. I was Arteta out last season because of the way how we crumbled. Like, I thought, you know what?
We got evidence.
But then when I realised, when I watched, what changed my mind about Arteta is when I watched the Amazon Prime documentary, and I realised he had some bad apples in the club that need to go. I'm not going to name their names, but he got rid of the bad apples, and this season we built a good team spirit. Even though Gabriel Jesus is injured at the moment, Nketiah stepped up and scored goals. And other players have stepped up when players have not been available. And we've got a stronger unit now. So we got each player for each position now, I would say. So say for example, say if a player is unavailable or tired, he can always bring another player on. So we've got a stronger team spirit, got a stronger chemistry now. And I feel like this season, we could definitely do well this season, but as I said, I'm taking one game at a time because I know the other teams, the other chasing pack are going to be chasing us. And everyone's going to want to beat us now. So every game is like a cup final from now to the end of the season, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's some massive games coming up this week that I think will have a major bearing on the title race in particular. Obviously, the big game that a lot of people are talking to is the February game between Arsenal and Manchester City. We played them twice, once in the Cup and once in the League. I think that those two fixtures are going to be important. But I think this week of games in particular, if the games go the way they could go, and we'll go into that a little bit more in just a little while, then that will have a major, major bearing on the outcome of stuff. I wanted to highlight two players that I mentioned as candidates for man of the match. There's been a lot of talk about one of them in particular, because all of a sudden now Casemiro's in the league. He's now the best defensive midfielder. Fabinho says, hello. Hi. I'm off form, but this is my land. And Thomas Partey says to them both, hi. Hello.
Hello there.
It's my league now. Rodri says to all of them, yo guys, I didn't leave. But Partey and Zinchenko, for different reasons, I think they are offering massive, like foundational pieces to Arsenal Football Club. For you, Matthew, looking at the impact of Zinchenko and of Partey on the team in how they allow Arsenal to play, how do you like relate to that as a Chelsea fan? And do you look at it and think, gosh, like, parallels of when you really had a solid team and the players that had a similar impact in your system?
I look at that with, like, it's a melancholy feeling because it's good, but it's also bad because it reminds us of what the standard used to have and how it's imperative to have a good midfield in your team. There's no point, a sandwich is nothing about stuff in the middle. Nothing about stuff in the middle. And at the moment right now, we're at air, we're oxygen in the middle. We're literally nothing. So it's interesting to see how I think the addition of Zinchenko, though, Premier League winner, serial winner, knows what it means to win. He's going to know Arteta from possibly playing his time at Man City. That connection is probably really effective as well, bringing along that winning mentality. Someone who's going to, want to continue that, who's going to sing whatever the manager is kind of saying. And, along with Partey as well, maybe losing the bad apples, improved his attitude as well. It's just long been said that, maybe he got used to the party lifestyle a little bit too much. Maybe that's now that's not what this is about. You come here to win, you come here to play, you come here to achieve. And it just shows that how, I know again off slightly, but how effective it is to have everyone singing from the same book for the same reason at the same time. All the players there, they feel like they have something to prove to not just to Arteta, but to the whole Arsenal as well. And after all of these years, a bit like how we used to do, and how you get the impression that if there was something in that team that didn't go well, they would have a serious look and then air it all out in the dressing room, air it all out. We all know Mikel can do that side of him. He has that side of him. Mind you, he's learned from the best to do that. Not to copy his style, but to implement how he wants them to play. And that's how he used to be. That's how it used to be with us. You see people like Lampard, see people like Essien, see people like Makelele, see people like, Obi Mikel, players like Deco, Ballack, players that are not used to playing second best. And that's what I'm seeing. You see the same kind of effect here, that command in the midfield. So it's no wonder that you're doing the way you're doing. It's not so much about up front, it's in midfield. So disciplined, strong, no fear. Like you said, Tottenham really got out their half in the game. That's down to your midfield. Like, it can't be said enough of just how important it is.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, for you, Craig, how important do you see Zinchenko and Partey in the Arsenal team right now? And how significant do you think it is that Arteta's almost shared their responsibilities in their roles in the team?
I feel like they're the older guys on the team. And I feel like they're leaders. Both of them are leaders. Well, Zinchenko's a big leader. He's a big captain without the armband, basically. Without the armband, he's a leader because he's got the experience of winning so many trophies at Man City. He knows how to win. Just gets on with his job. Good motivator in the dressing room. Just gets on with the job. So I feel that with him, and Partey stepped up a game a lot this season. I think he's getting injured less now. So I think he's also doing the right thing off the pitch as well, so he can keep fit for the games. I think this is a stat. I don't know if you know this stat. We haven't lost a game this season when Partey's played. When we lost at Old Trafford, Partey was not playing. He was injured. So we've won every game this season when Partey's played. So it goes to show that Partey's a very important player of our team. So we have to wrap him up in cotton wool and keep him fit for the rest of the season.
But I also feel like a lot of the stuff he used to do last season, like the build-up play, the carrying the ball out from the back, a lot of that responsibility is now been given to Zinchenko. Like, he still does progress the play a little bit, but Zinchenko has definitely taken on that playing responsibility.
He's better at it.
He's better at it. But I also think that's probably helps give Partey a better bill of health. Like, when the World Cup came around, I was praying. I was so worried because Ghana, they played him 90 minutes, like every match. He never got taken off once. I was just worried. Times I was getting frustrated. I was like, please protect the old man. Like, let's not lose him. But then the ironic thing in that is clearly whatever the Arsenal medical team have worked out in terms of what he needs for his preparation, his pre-game, post-game, you can see the difference because he's not really broken down of any injuries. He's not had any injuries at all this season.
He's been fit this year.
And we know he's very important to our play. We know he's very important to what we want to do. But the fact that they've worked out what's the best way, whether it be diet, whether it be changes in lifestyle, I don't know what the specifics are. But clearly they've done enough in the background to kind of get him to a place where he can play multiple games in a week, where you don't have to worry about, him going in for a tackle or him running. I mean, he's not really had to do many sprints either, like to kind of chase back for the ball. So I think even things like that is making a massive difference.
I think a change of lifestyles helped him massively.
Yeah.
I think it really has.
I think it's a wake-up call in his career.
Disciplined.
If he wants to win big trophies, he has to leave that lifestyle alone and focus on football.
Yeah, trophies. I mean, obviously there was a lot of talk about the party lifestyle. We don't really know for certain. I mean, all I know is I remember when I used to see the pictures on Twitter of him out, and when there was 1 week he was injured and he was out the same night. It's like, what he did anyway. But, yeah,
big up Partey.
But yeah, I'm just glad that things are working out better for him on the pitch. Obviously, in every game there's two teams. Obviously, we don't really like talking about the other half. But listen, right? just so it's abundantly clear, there's never been a power shift in North London, right? Tottenham finished above Arsenal for a few seasons, for a while now. St Totteringham's day has not happened for a very long time. But here's the key and important fact that I want all of you listening to understand. There's been no power shift because they ain't won nothing. Finishing above us in the table, okay. When going to a Champions League final, we've done that too. Did you win it? No, you lost, as always. You haven't even won a cup of significance. The last cup you won was under One Day Ramos, which was the wonderful Carabao, when it was called the
League Cup.
Carling Cup. That is your last trophy back in 09 season. Yep, that is your last trophy. Since then, you've won nothing. We have won, how many FA Cups? 4, 5?
4, 5, yeah.
See, I can't even keep up. And they're just FA Cups, and you can't even win the Mickey Mouse Cup, right? So until you guys can win something, anything, I mean, the Audi Cup doesn't count because we've won a few Emirates Cups. We don't care about them anymore. Until you can win a trophy that actually counts for something and is actually statistically valuable, don't talk to me about power shift, yeah? But anyway, speaking of our neighbours who are really going for a rough time right now, and it's just beautiful to watch, where do they go from here? Because I think, they've tried the big manager thing twice. They had Jose, didn't really give him the time to properly, and maybe you could argue the resources to properly get what he wanted to get across. They moved on to Conte, and from having him as manager exactly what he needs to work within the conditions that he works. If anything, I see him as more of like a one-season manager where he'll bring him in, he wins you a trophy and leaves. It's the same way he left you guys, he left Inter. It's a pattern. But where do the Spurs go from here?
I don't know. I don't know. Like you said, they tried everything. They tried the experienced guy, Mourinho and Conte. They tried Ryan Mason. They tried Nuno. They tried Pochettino. I mean, all varying degrees of experience. What do they expect? Where are they honestly? If they want to win something or establish something, no one seems to really want to know, because it's like they got a lot of players. They got a lot of players, but are they the players that he necessarily wanted? It's like, like before, he said before, if you don't give him exactly what he needs, it's not going to work. We wanted Lukaku, we got Morata. Prime example. Prime example. I'm not saying we would have won and stormed the league that year, but look what happened when he did have Lukaku at Inter Milan. Look what happened. Different beasts. So it's the manager's market is really kind of slim at the moment. They're willing to go back to the past and get Pochettino back, or go really gung-ho and offer all the money in the world and get someone like, I don't know, Zidane, which Daniel Levy will not do.
And I don't think Zidane would go to
And Zidane wouldn't go anyway. So unless they go try and get an ex-legend like a Ledley King or Jermaine Defoe, I don't know. I really genuinely don't know. It's a confusing spot to be in, because they have all these aspirations. They claim about this shift of meaning, but the only claim they have against you guys is that they've been in North London for longer. So that's really, really bad, because you've actually come into their yard after all these years and taken all their time. Woolwich Arsenal technically in South London, and you still come over and hundreds of years and stomp their yard.
It's our house.
Quite literally.
Home. It's our city.
So not only in the game, but in life, as far as boroughs go, from Greenwich to Haringey, you've done it. That's bad. That's like coming and inviting the robbers to your house, just opening all the doors, all the windows, every single orifice. Take the Sky, take the Virgin, take the dog, take the Xbox, take the PlayStation, PS1, Nintendo, PS2. Take it all. That's what this is all about. So what they want, what do they need? I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think that there's like a misunderstanding in terms of like the quote unquote success that they want to have? Because I think under Pochettino they improved a lot.
That's big time.
And I think he was a major factor behind this quote unquote power shift perception that these tiny tots have. But I think, if you look at their managers, I was listening to a podcast yesterday and they were talking about who would you classify as like Tottenham's successful managers, and the names that came up were One Day Ramos, who won their last trophy. Pochettino, who actually helped to create this visual identity of what Tottenham is.
Yeah.
Exciting team with young players, very kind of aggressive football, very good on the eye. Not at the Arsenal level, but good on the eye within asterisks, but effective. Just almost like it was like a season. They needed one more year before. I feel like the Champions League final season should have happened in the season he got fired.
Yeah.
Because maybe by that point they would have been ready for it. And then, of course, the last manager was Harry Redknapp. Because, again, he's the one, I think, who started this Tottenham are a serious club thing. We should probably pay attention to them. Because they had Martin Jol, no one cared. They've had Gus Poyet, no one cared. When Harry came in, it's like, hold on a minute, they're picking up British players.
Yeah.
They're starting to be looked at like as they're the British darlings. The press started to buy into it. If anything, if they had Leicester's season, we wouldn't hear any of it. We wouldn't hear the end of it. People would go on. But for you, Craig, looking at all these things of Spurs and their failures and their kind of current uncomfortable period, you could call it growing pains. You could just call it the reality of, as Giorgio Chiellini says, this is the history of the Tottenham and their bottlers. But like for you, what would you propose they do? And no, you can't say they should fold. I know we would like that option, but we need to have someone to beat every season. So let's keep them around for a bit longer.
It goes to show they tried the expensive managers, the big elite managers didn't work. They brought in so much players. They bought players like in the summer they spent more money than Arsenal.
Did they?
They did. Damn. Spent more money than us in the summer. All the players they bought in Richarlison 60 million. They brought in Basuma. They brought in Jed Spence. They brought in Perisic on a free. What's they bring in? They brought somebody up that midfielder that played on Sunday.
They started playing Sessegnon.
No, not Bentancur.
The other one.
They started playing Sessegnon.
What's his name? C something, Papi something. The one who played centre mid next to Hohenberg.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I know what you mean. His name's not ringing.
I can't remember his name there. Yeah, they played him. They bought him. I feel like, and they brought in Langley as well on loan from Barcelona. I feel like what could they do? They tried everything. Like if they sack Conte tomorrow, another man is going to have to come and they're going to have to start all over again and again and again. They haven't got that one thing. They haven't got a winning. I think they got. When they talk about generational curses, family and breaking generational curses. I think Tottenham have got generational curses. I think something's really cursing that club, and they need to break it because for decades they've been struggling. Not just recently. They had good managers. One day, Ramos was the last manager to win a trophy. Redknapp had players like Gareth Bell. They didn't win a trophy. Gareth Bell. They had Defoe. They had Keane. They had Berbatov.
Good team.
All these great players. They didn't win anything with them. They won a Carabao Cup with Berbatov and Keane, to be fair, but Gareth Bell was there, they didn't win anything. Defoe was there, they didn't win anything. Who else did they have? That Ledley King, their inspirational leader, didn't win anything.
Ledley King was there.
Ledley King
was there. He just didn't train, he played once a week. Let's talk about, you made a good point about players, about money spent. I just want to go through the names and just compare. This is just since May 2022, our Tottenham and Arsenal players they've bought and the money they spent. Richarlison, who is the most expensive player on this list between both teams, £60 million from Everton. Christian Romero, £42 million from Atalanta. Yves Bissouma, £35 million from Brighton. Jed Spence, £20 million from Middlesbrough. And Destiny Udogie, £15 million from Udinese. Total spend of £172 million since May. Arsenal, same time period. Gabriel Jesus from Man City, £45 million. Fabio Vieira from Porto, £34 million. Alexander Zinchenko from Man City, £32 million. Matt Turner from New England, £7.5 million. And Marquinhos from Sao Paulo, £3 million. A total spend of £121.5 million. Talk about a misuse of funds. Like, they've spent more than us. And yet,
so the debate is like who do you, like Jesus or Richarlison? I'll say Jesus. He had a bigger impact.
The thing is, I don't even want to go through the list and say who would you pick over those, because I'm looking at the names. I'm not picking a single Spurs. Okay, no, that's not true. Because Marquinhos right now, I just think he's not quite it. So maybe one of the Spurs players might make the cut, and I don't know which one. But maybe Romero would make the cut over Marquinhos.
What's the philosophy there they have at Spurs? What's their philosophy? What are they buying all these players? I mean, Eastwood there, you can see. Even with the first two players alone for Arsenal, you can see a trend. But when they're buying it for Spurs, where's the philosophy? There's no kind of like it doesn't kind of add up. It's like fitting a round hole into a square peg. Like there doesn't seem to be any kind of cohesion. Maybe they need to go down the route of a younger, like maybe what they need to do is what a lot of these clubs are doing is go down the route of maybe someone a little bit younger. Maybe start afresh, recognize where they are or when they want to be and say how many years. It works. It's working for Newcastle. It's working for you. It worked for Liverpool. I can't see why it work. Why it can't work for Spurs.
So you're thinking Matthew bringing a club legend like how Arsenal brought a club legend, a legend like Arteta, and Eddie Howe's a good Premier League manager.
I think that Tottenham need to pick a manager that fits the profile of the club. They're not able to handle what a big manager requires because they're not going to spend the quantities that are required on us. Like, okay, they spent a lot this summer. Look at those numbers. They spent a lot of money. But none of those players are needle movers.
No.
Not for what they want to achieve. Richarlison's probably the one of that. Richarlison and Romero are the two players. And you could argue on paper, Basuma should be, because we've all rated them very highly over the years. But yet, this season has not quite lived up to what they were expecting. But they're not needle movers. And I think for Spurs, when you look at like Kane, look at Son, they're at the point now where they're looking, thinking, listen, like we could stay here.
Never win a thing.
But then, Grealish has won the Premier League for crying out loud. Foden's got a couple now. Like, do we want to be behind these guys? And then if you're Kane in particular, it's like, I know I'm better than Grealish. Like, how have I not won a Premier yet? Like, you know.
But I feel like Son might leave in the summer. I feel Kane will stay because he's a Tottenham man, innit? But I feel Son is kind of looking at himself thinking, am I really going to want to stay here now? I've been there for a long time. I haven't won anything. And he's getting to 30 now, so he's going to want to win something sooner or later. So I personally feel that he might leave. He could leave in the summer.
I think Moura's going. Moura's on his way out.
Moura's out, yeah.
Moura's on his way out. He said he's
he's
not renewing his contract. So, but that might be a good thing. Maybe get rid of the players that aren't necessarily toxic, but aren't moving the club forward. Like we said, needle movers. As good as people like Kane and Thing are, they've been there long enough. They've had the two most Tottenham managers they've ever had would have been successful under. You can argue Harry Redknapp and Pochettino, and then they didn't win anything. The closer they got to a league, Pochettino. Closer they got to FA Cup in the recent times, Pochettino. Champions League, Pochettino. Hell, Carabao Cup, Chelsea final 2015, Pochettino.
I got to ask this question though: do you feel like they should have fired Mourinho when they were approaching the League Cup final? Because I was listening to the podcast the other night, and they were saying that like obviously, and people do like to revise history, and they might argue that if he's a serial winner, if we'd kept him along, he might have taken us over to the promised land. But in your opinion, Craig, and I'll ask you Matthew as well, do you think if Mourinho had been kept on board, would Tottenham have won the League Cup?
That final?
Yeah, they had in 27. I can't remember what year
it was. The one after.
I think was that the final when they played Man City, innit?
Yeah,
after lockdown. Yeah,
I think they would have won it. If Mourinho was there, Mourinho's got a way high players against Guardiola. And Mourinho's the only manager that get under the skin of Guardiola.
That's a good point.
Them two have a rivalry since Barcelona day. They're both Mourinho used to coach Guardiola when he was a player, and then I think because Mourinho didn't go to Barcelona, he went to Real Madrid because Mourinho was supposed to go for the job when Rijkaard got sacked. I don't know if you know this. Mourinho was supposed to go for the Barcelona job, but then the Barcelona board decided to bring in Guardiola, and Guardiola was the youth team coach, or he was the reserve team coach. And then when Guardiola and Mourinho came to La Liga, when Mourinho got the job at Real Madrid, that rivalry, that 2-3 year rivalry.
Boy, that was madness.
It was crazy. I remember the 5-0 game when Barcelona absolutely destroyed Real Madrid 5-0. I feel like Nou Camp. And Mourinho's face, so I always knew that Mourinho always got under the skin of Guardiola. Even when Guardiola came to the Premier League and Mourinho was in the Premier League, it was like Wenger-Ferguson rivalry between them two.
So for you, Matthew, who would you have kept him on for that final?
100%. He's won it with two different clubs in the past. He won it with Chelsea twice, won it with Man United. He's very good at winning small competitions that can mean a lot to a club. You only have to look at Roma and the Conference League, the UEFA Conference League. Very first Conference League with a lot of ex-Premier League players. He grabbed them together, won the very first one. So at best, you should have kept him for the final. And I genuinely believe they would have won it.
I mean, he's won every European trophy now.
The first manager to do that.
So, he's definitely a serial winner. He knows what it takes to do those things. Obviously, in the game at Spurs, there was an unsightly incident. I think that we mentioned Richarlison. I think he definitely had a big impact in kind of inciting the atmosphere a little bit. Now, there's a lot of people, Jim White and the other twats on TalkSport, who were giving a lot of criticism towards Ramsdale and saying that he's kind of created the atmosphere that led to the incident where a dumb Spurs fan, a 35-year-old child, who's been arrested and I think he's been charged, but they've been arrested for assaulting the player. For me, I don't really get that angle of blaming the goalkeeper. Everyone knows that it's give and take. Fans abuse players all the time from the stands. Goalkeepers get it pelters all the time. It's part of the banter. I remember the Leicester game when he had the whole goal kick thing and they had the whole So you give it back, right?
Yeah.
So it's a known thing. It's a give and take thing. What I didn't like is that fan obviously couldn't handle himself. The stewards didn't help either, because one steward that helped him back on his feet. Man, I'd have just dropped him back between the seats. Where you going? I'll just sit right down. But like, we don't want to see that in the game. And you know, it's unnecessary. But I bring that up because I don't like the way the media have been talking about Arsenal a lot this season. There seems to be this really weird narrative around everything's Arsenal's fault. Arteta's overreacting on the touchline, who don't like that, even though they were very happy when Klopp did the whole running on the pitch and hugging Alisson. They loved when Mourinho would do his usual antics, but when it's Arteta, it's too much. We got this now. The fact that Arsenal have had 2 FA charges in 2 games for surrounding the referee and intimidating him to get a yellow card. I've not heard anything about the Newcastle game. I've not heard anything about the City game at the weekend. I've not heard anything about the Spurs game. I've not heard any FA charges of any of those instances yet. I'm waiting. But for you, do you think that the media need to be very careful about how they speak on things? Because for me, it's like when you're blaming Ramsdale for that incident, you're creating a precedent where you're almost enabling people to do more of the same. Because if again, a different match happens, you know, say the game tomorrow coming up, Tottenham City, big game, lots on the line, and you know, a City fan decides to just punch Richarlison, for example, right? Is that now allowed because Richarlison's annoying? Say Richarlison scores a winning goal and a City fan punches him. Is that allowed? How do you see this whole thing playing out?
I think we talked about this in the past, where it's a culture of football is kind of changing from like even what it was 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. And I think media's trying to like almost catch up with that a little bit. The way we look at football now is very different. We don't always go down the routes of watching Match of the Day or even listening to things like TalkSport. I don't know why I do that in the first place, but the thing has moved on right now. It's all in this digital age where you've got more fans having more opinions. They're actually getting more of their opinions from the fans that actually go watch the games week in, week out. I genuinely can't remember, most because Chelsea have been rubbish, but I genuinely can't remember the last time I watched Match of the Day and actually heard that kind of thing, because it sometimes also is all like very generic and safe, and you feel like they're skating on the line where they want to say something, but they don't. Now, I get that they want to be careful. They've got a thing to protect, and they've got their lives on the line and their reputations, I get that, but I think as long as you're fair and you're impartial in your analysis, like the whole thing with Ramsdale, like how are you saying how is it his fault? How is it his fault? They attacked him. They came up to him. You're lucky Ramsdale is that kind of character where he's just going to wave it off. We all know this about him. So maybe that's what it is. And I'm not saying that that's right. Maybe they're saying, maybe he can handle it. That's what it is. No, they came up to him.
Imagine if that was Jens Lehmann from back in the day, Craig.
Lehmann would have swung through him. Lehmann would have knocked him out.
The minute the player that fan's foot had touched, if it was Lehmann, the minute the foot had touched his back, that fan would have been on the floor.
Lehmann did not play.
He would have just grabbed and dropped him straight.
He'd been missing some teeth, I'm telling you.
Lehmann did not play.
Lehmann did not play.
Oh, I'd love to see it. But I also think in a way that how, he's the guy got charged and arrested. A lot of people think that in this day and age, they're going to see that. This is what happens when you see something on video and you only see one side of a story. They're going to see that, oh no, who's that guy, that footballer who earns all this money? His responsibility, he shouldn't be doing that. No, he shouldn't have stepped on the pitch. You don't need to be on the pitch. Your team's crap. Your team had a crap game. Own it. Go home and run. Go on to fan cam. Go find oozing expression and talk to him about it. But don't attack the man. Especially not Ramsdale. Ramsdale knock him out. You're lucky it wasn't Jens Lehmann. You're lucky. We could go through a whole list of big time footballers who have been on the floor. Cantona. Who's it? Van der Sar having a big dunk.
Duncan Ferguson.
Shearer.
Even Pickford.
Pickford's a madman. Pickford, don't mess with Pickford,
Pickford.
He's a northerner.
Pickford. He would not mess around.
Emi Martinez. Get put in a spliff.
Fabian Barthez.
Bro, man.
Barthez are crazy. Don't mess with Barthez,
It's crazy, but I don't know what you're doing.
It's slightly now, but I'm sorry. How is this Arsenal's fault? Where the guy coming on the pitch try to slap him? I just don't get the logic.
And the thing is as well, I don't think Ramsdale was antagonating the fans. He was going to get his water bottle, and then he turned around, and then the fan came out of nowhere and just kicked him in his back.
I mean, to be fair, look, he was giving them chip. Like when we scored the goal, he kissed the badge. They were giving him chip. He was giving them chip back. It was just kind of typical
banner.
standard stuff. Like they were giving him a lot of penalties. He gave it back.
Yeah.
I don't think he went over the line in what he was doing. At the end of the day, as a fan, if you can't take it, don't dish it out.
I think Richarlison should be. I think Richarlison should be banned as well because the way how he incited that fight as well.
He touched him.
He kept on tapping him in his face. You can't do that.
Instigator.
Look, you scored a great overhead kick in the World Cup. Well done. But we all know how we all rate you. We rate you as a word that starts with S and ends in T. We don't rate you highly, but I'm glad that you're having a good time, enjoying yourself with your little bird dance with your manager. But when it counts, you can't do anything on the pitch.
Let's throw some bread.
When it counts on the pitch, what are you doing? Nothing. But anyway,
oh my god.
Yeah, I think we can just safely say that North London's red, isn't it? Like, I mean, I'm going to go as far as say London's red this season because I don't see none of you guys putting any pressure on us. So, moving on, Manchester. I said Manchester's still blue because yes, Man United had a good win. Well, good. Let's talk about that one. Man United won against Man City. Well done on the weekend. Well done. Very, very, very controversial goal. But before we get into the controversial goal, let's talk about the general performance of Manchester United. Like, start with you, Craig. Do you think it's fair to say that they are back?
That's the thing. We always think that Man United are back, and then they have a couple of good games, and they lose an odd game. They lose a game they should have won. But to be fair, when they lost against when I was working and lost against Brentford that day, and I saw the way how Ten Hag changed it up after that game. He's done a massive transformation from that game because Maguire got dropped from that game. Maguire just hasn't started the game for a while. He hardly played Lindelof these days. He plays Luke Shaw, left back, centre back. So he Rashford, Ronaldo was still there. He's gone.
Yep.
Since Ronaldo's gone, United have been winning all their games. There's no big egos in the squad.
No Martial.
Yeah, he dropped Markus Rashford the other day for being late for training, for team meeting. So he's really stamping his authority. Are they going to win the league? I don't think so. Are they going to get top 4? Maybe. Are they better than Liverpool?
Right now?
Right now, yeah. Are they better than Chelsea? Right now, yeah. Can they catch them up? Anything can happen. Will they stay in their position for the rest of the season? I don't know. So it's a situation where if they play well, they can win matches. But no one has really tested them properly. I thought City were going to give them a better test than they did. City scored the first goal, and I think City set off the gas. They could have gone for one. I think City could have got 2 or 3 more goals after they scored the first goal. But I think City sat back. You can't do that against United. This United team is not the old United team of before, where you can sit back and say, we'll hold a 1-0.
And they are in form.
Man United were at the other end. Controversial goal, yes. They scored. Should have been a goal. No. Controversial goals. Then Garnacho came on, changed the game, put the ball in the box, Rashford scores the winner. Even then when they scored the winner, I thought City could have gone for the equaliser. I think City got demoralised in their head. They stopped trying. So that's where you look and you think that if this game on Saturday that gone was a title decider, then maybe Guardiola's thrown it away. But I don't feel the title's over for City yet because they still got big games ahead. So us being an Arsenal fan, we still have to watch our backs. We keep on winning our games because Man City are going to come back stronger. They are a big club. They know how to win the league. A couple of seasons ago, they were way behind and they came out of nowhere and won the league. So they know how to chase down leads. So we have to keep on doing what we need to do. And then when we play City soon, we beat them, demoralise them, and hopefully go on there and win the league.
Well, let's talk about that controversial goal because I've watched it back a number of times. I've watched several replays. I've looked at someone who did an amazing editing job on Twitter and took out Rashford from the picture and showed you what the picture looks like if he's not there. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why they have not decided that is interfering with play. Now, you could argue that he didn't touch the ball. He didn't touch the ball. That's true. But the run he makes influences 3 players on the pitch. First of all, Ederson's positioning. Now, Ederson's positioning has been a bit up and down anyway. He's been a bit sus, pecked with his positioning. So he was way too far out. And you could tell from how he's adjusted his body shape, he's expecting Rashford to shoot left-footed to his that side because he's set to move towards his right. That's the first problem. Second player closest to Rashford is Akanji. Now, if Rashford's not there, because he doesn't touch the ball, so the ball trajectory continues on the same path. Is that if he's not there, Akanji can break into a full sprint. Maybe even try a slide tackle to try and get a touch on the ball. Because if you notice, he doesn't sprint. There's a point when he stops running because, Rashford's ahead of me that I can't get back. So he stops. And the third and final player who has a massive impact is Kyle Walker. Now, again, Kyle Walker's running back. He's running alongside Bruno. If Rashford's not there, he can go to engage Bruno more. The reason why he's not going to engage Bruno is just in case the ball comes out towards the left-hand side of the attacking position. So he wants to have some cover of that. So that's 3 players who've been affected by Rashford's non-touching of the ball. So for me, I look at that and think, how can you interpret that as not interfering? How do you see it? Because it's not been the first time. And in fact, what's really ironic is in the very next game Liverpool played, there was a ball played out from the left-hand, I think it was a cross from the left-hand side towards the right-hand side. Trent Alexander-Arnold was offside. The ball is well ahead of him. Doesn't touch the ball, like Rashford. He's jogging to reach the ball, to pick it up for a throw for Liverpool. They gave it as offside. Same type of incident. Neither player touches the ball. Both players running towards the ball. One's interpreted as interfering with play. The other one isn't. How does that make sense?
It doesn't because offside. It doesn't go like he's so like they've held their line and he's like he can. I don't know if he knows that he's so far gone because they're still behind him, but you can see so clearly. I don't care what kind of trickery they can do, and I do think as someone who used to play in goal before. His feet, Ederson's feet, they're all over the place that he's not ready. I don't think he's anticipating Bruno Fernandes to come back by and doing what he did. I think it's almost like he's almost expecting, and maybe he just didn't position himself correctly. He's almost expecting the referee or the linesman to be like, this is offside. They're going to chalk it off. And sure enough, it went to VAR. I don't know what they saw. All right, fine. He's not interfering, but he's essential to that because without that, Bruno Fernandes doesn't do what he does. Or maybe Ederson comes out and just hoofs the ball up. I've had a look at the second one. If anything, I probably had a look at the second one just that little bit more. I think Ake may be playing Rashford onside ever so slightly. Like I said, I had to watch this a couple of times. So I get why no one's really talking about that one as much. But that first goal, I'm sorry, I don't know how it stands the way it does. Because like maybe Man United are back because that can only happen to them. That could only ever happen to them. Maybe Fergie's got in the ear like a kill switch or something and it's like, you better not. And go to his boy Howard Webb. I don't know. But it's any other game. I guarantee, like you said, with Liverpool, it's offside. So I don't know what and it goes back to this whole thing again with VAR, the controversy, it not being worked. Only seems to be the Premier League getting it wrong. And it's for things like this. It's the things is only as good as the people that use it and implement it. So if you're going to do it, get it right.
Yeah.
Get it right.
That's the thing. We just want consistency. Like, we're not even too... like, for me, if the situation with Trent the next game was not given offside, I don't think I'd worry too much. So, you know what? The interpretation of the rule is... Because the thing of the rule is it's quite subjective. Because it does say if there's not a touch, but it also adds if they're not interfering with play. So again, or influencing the play. So again, you could argue, was Rashford influencing the play or not? I mean, we think he was because it's clear he's affected 3 players. But again, it's all down to...
It's like he's used as a decoy to take them out of the game completely.
Yeah. It's a massive thing. Lastly, on Man United, and then we're going to talk about the game coming up this weekend. But Erik ten Hag coming in, and he had a big lot of business to do this season when he got that squad together. I'm glad to say Sancho's back in training. Praise God! Like I'm really happy that he's back, and he had some time off. They didn't specify what it is, but from kind of reading between the lines, it seemed like it was a confidence / maybe just wasn't in the right mindset for football. But I'm glad that he's had some time away in Holland, been able to work on his game away from the distractions, social media, and all the kind of stuff. So I'm glad he's back in training, and we'll see if he makes an appearance at the weekend. If he does, then I'm hoping he flops, for personal reasons, not for, But I'm hoping he's well. Just perform next week, not this week. So he's back. But Ten Hag's come in, he had a big job on his hands to kind of get Man United back to where they wanted to be. The Ollie experiment sadly didn't quite work out. The Ranić banter was a joke. I don't know what you lot were thinking. But anyway, they've now got a credible manager in the board, and he's had to get rid of the big number 7. You know, he showed them who's the boss, and Ronaldo's gone, and now they are seemingly flying, and they've been quietly flying under the radar, just picking up points, picking up wins, and now they're within touching distance of the top. So for you, Craig, do you think that, like we've been saying, our Man United back, but do you think Ten Hag as a manager is definitely like
The real deal?
bringing, not just the real deal, but is he bringing them back to the, let's say, the glory days of, let's say, is he bringing them back to what Mourinho did as a starting point, and then we can start looking to Ferguson's time?
I think he is, because it's in the semi-final of the EFL Cup. Beat Nottingham Forest, get to a final. Most likely, if we get to the final, most likely the favourites to win it.
Do you think he has to win that trophy this season?
Yeah.
Wow.
All the money he spent in the summer, he spent a lot of money. He has to win something. Just to boost the confidence of the club. The club is going for, there's a lot of in-house fighting in the club right now anyway, with the owners, and the fans are not happy with the owners. So for him to bring a trophy to the club in his first season, that would kind of block the noise, if you know what I mean, block the noise, and then the fans will have something to celebrate, and they'll be happy again for a little while. And then them getting Champions League will be crucial for them this season, I would say. Not even winning the league, but forget about that right now. Them getting Champions League will be crucial for them for next season, because then their money to buy, they have more money, revenue to buy, attract better players that they want to bring in. So, yeah. Nobody thinks of that, because they think that it could, look, Man United is a big club, don't get it twisted, but if you're a player, are you going to want to be playing Europa League football or Champions League football?
Champs all day, every day.
Champions League football,
That's where
100%.
it's at. That's where it's
So
at.
if you want to get a big elite, I know they got Ronaldo and he ended up playing Europa League, but deep down he didn't want to play Europa League football.
I think he was just happy to be back.
Yeah,
Yeah, he wanted to try and still try and compete at that level, to be his captain for his country and all that sort of thing. He felt like he still had more in the tank to give, and unfortunately, this
And let's
season
not
just
forget,
hasn't.
when he signed for them, they were in the Champions League.
that's true.
Oh yeah,
And not only that, I think Ten Hag did it Arteta as well, in a way where he got rid of a player that was stinking up the joint, if you want to say it like that. He got rid of him. Arteta did the same. So you got to give Ten Hag praise for standing up to someone with a big reputation like Ronaldo. Because Ronaldo has got elite reputation, world-class player, won so many Ballon d'Ors, won so many Champions League, and for him to tell him bye-bye, and the club is doing well without him. Because some managers would have done that in other clubs, and the team would have capitulated.
That's true.
But it seemed like him doing that to now, other players are stepping up even more. Like Rashford is stepping up, Martial stepping up.
is he? Martial?
Well,
Listen, okay.
yeah, well, yeah. Let me finish my point then.
Please do.
Players are stepping up and doing their thing. Now there's less pressure on them now than before. Obviously, yeah.
People always try to stick not Anthony Martial into these conversations. I don't know how. I do not understand how. To me, Anthony Martial is a YouTube footballer. You can always make a great highlights out of him and a clip that will make him look world class. But when you watch 90 minutes, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think when he first joined them, I saw the promise. The fact that people were trying to say to Mbappe, come outside, let's talk. Come outside where? Come outside where? Are you coming to come clean his shoes? Like, don't. Let's be real. Let's put some respect on all their names. Martial, I think he's a player that I think he has a lot of ability, but I think my thing with Martial, and I've always had this kind of niggling doubt, is like, does he have that killer mindset? Ronaldo has, like, you have to have it at the top level. Does he have it? And I just don't see it. I don't see enough of it. You know, Adebayor had more of a killer mindset than Martial. Bentner had more of a killer mindset than Martial.
Lord Bentner.
And Bentner didn't live up to his potential. I think Adebayor did, on the whole. Could have had a better career, but I think on the whole, I think he lived up to what he was capable of doing. He just didn't. He just moved around too much, and when he reached his peak, when he blossomed, he moved too soon from the environment that helped him flourish. That's Adebayor's mistake. Martial, he just hasn't. When has he flourished? All we've seen is budding shoots popping up. Where's the flower?
He had one good season.
Where's the fruit?
He had
There's
one good.
nothing.
To be fair, he had one good season on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he scored over 20+ goals. Only one season he done that. One season.
One season. So he's a Rick Astley. One hit wonder. But anyway, look, I'm Man United fans, you love him, but I just don't see it. And for me, I think if he look, Vegas is coming now. He's starting today, a game against Palace. When I looked earlier, it was 0-0 still. But
And they're getting potentially a new buyer.
yeah, and there's obviously we know that Harry Kane is most likely not going to be at Tottenham next season. There's a massive striker-shaped hole at Old Trafford. Martial FC, you lot can back the kid all you want, but the reality is if Kane comes on the market and you can take him, he's in and Martial's out. That's it. It's not even up for a question. It's just done. Next. Because you'll take him and then you'll have a younger striker to blossom up beneath to kind of take over eventually. But that is what it is. Let's move on to the big game at the weekend, which I think is going to have a major impact, or it could have a major impact on the title, especially if Tottenham do themselves a favour and beat Man City in the game tomorrow, or if they both draw. Right now it's 8 points. Potentially could go up to 11 points if Man City lose. I'm expecting it to stay at 8 point gap. I just think they'll beat Spurs. But for you, Matthew, looking ahead for that game at the Emirates, I feel like it's back.
Emirates?
Yeah, Arsenal.
I thought you were talking about City.
No, I'm not talking about them. But the Arsenal game. Like I said, whatever happens in that game happens. It's not my focus. Cool. But let's talk about the Arsenal game. Man United, Arsenal. Can we say now that we're both back? I know it's early days for them. I feel like for us, and it is early days for Arsenal in many ways, but I think the way we're playing, the way we're controlling games, the identity of the team, the restraint that the owners are having is of who we buy and how much we spend, the philosophy that Arteta's building out, the way how you could see ultimately he couldn't work with the players he had previously, how through half of last season, the shackles were firmly on the players to play a certain way. And you kind of loosened the shackles to now there are no shackles and there's a freedom within the structure. Do you think it's safe to say that Arsenal United, the rivalry is back?
Didn't we talk about football heritage not that long ago?
We did.
And how many times that point's been proven? We've had Real Madrid come back and win another Champions League. Argentina come back and win their first World Cup. Messi gets his first World Cup.
AC Milan are back.
AC Milan won the league, and I think they won the league as well. And now you got two of the biggest clubs in the country back where they know and feel that they belong in Arsenal, Man United, and we're talking about Man United coming in on the radar on the title race where Arsenal at the top. I would say the sleeping giant is waking up. They're sitting on the bed ready and raring to go. They just need to pop on them slippers and get them moving.
That's it.
That's what it is right now. That's even a Newcastle, another sleeping, another slumbering giant. They're just, they're just now coming out. They're opening this very slowly, opening their eyes. But for the case of you two, there's a long way to go. And so, I was surprised. There's still 20 games to go, but it feels like there's been more going on because of the World Cup. So there's still 20 games to go, not including cup games and stuff like that. So you can only say 25, 26, 27 maybe, depending how far you want to go in your competitions. So, the Giants are awakening. The Giants are slowly awakening. You're sitting on the bed, you're ready and, ready and raring to go. The new money, all of a sudden they're arguing amongst themselves where you got old money sitting there, old money is old money. It's always going to be there. So
what's your prediction for the game?
I think you're going to get more of them than you did from Spurs. I think you're going to get way more from them. I'm going to say this because I can't actually think of an actual outcome. Whoever scores first wins.
Yeah. What's your prediction, Craig?
2-1 Arsenal.
Okay.
I'm
saying three goals to Arsenal. I don't know how many to Man United, but we'll Arsenal win. I'll say that much. Maybe a 3-0, maybe a 3-1. I don't know. Who's your player of the match?
For
that game coming.
Damn.
Tough one.
It's so hard because you can, for me, either team or one team or.
Who's your player of the match? Who do you think's going to have a big impact on that game? Or your one to watch.
My one to watch.
Okay, let's make it easier. Which Man United player do you think is going to have a bigger impact on the match? Be like a key player for them.
I'm going to stick with Rashford. Even after that punishment from Ten Hag, he's actually gotten better. He's gotten stronger. So I'll be keeping an eye on him.
Who you backing, Craig, from Man United to have a key player in the game?
Rashford as well.
I'm going for Eriksen. I think in the last game we played, he was a key factor in that match. In fact, his passes and just him being in midfield just surprised me, and it really made a difference. Arsenal-wise, who are you backing to be the key player?
Jenko.
Odegaard.
Yeah.
Playmaker and that.
I'm going to go for Partey. There's been so much chat on the timeline about Casemiro versus Partey. Look, my boy's ready. Number 5 is ready. He's locked and loaded. He's focused. He's locked in. As for Casemiro, he's playing right now, so he better be careful. So you better be careful and know what's up. All right, last thing to say then. What are we saying the implication of the game will be?
I want to think, well, whoever wins it really has got like this finger is like touching like the bottom part of that trophy. Only this finger, one finger. It's just like just a little teaser because it's massive. Because we don't know what's going to happen with tomorrow's game, but your game, just the history behind it. Maybe he's watched Sky Sports Sunday, Man United, Arsenal, Old Trafford, Emirates, Highbury, whatever. Like this is gonna give that one team just that little finger on there.
And what about for you, Craig? What do you think the impact will be of the game?
Whoever wins the game goes on to win the title.
Wow. All right.
Didn't even hesitate.
And on that note, I think we're going to call it a night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. How do you feel about what's going on in these last few games? Do you think London is red? Do you feel like Manchester is actually red and not blue? Let us know. Who are you backing to win in the weekend? Are you going to back Arsenal? Are you backing Man United? Lastly but not least, do you feel like Tottenham will pull it together, or do you think that they will just continue to roll into mediocrity? Catch us again next time, and we're out.
Peace.